Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrow. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen.
I just finished remodeling my office, which also serves as our guest bedroom. So the next logical room to remodel would be the guest bathroom, which is right next to the office. Whenever I do projects like this, I try to be as organized as possible, which means getting all my stuff together ahead of time. And that's what this big pile is behind me. So I've got a new vanity down here. I've got a new toilet up here. I've got a faucet up here. I got this fancy towel from Home Depot. This is 12 by 24 porcelain tile, the thin set to put the tile down with, Grout, and I've got a bunch of tools here, and shiplap, which is going to make a fancy backsplash. I'm going to put in a GFCI outlet. Electricity is not scary. And finally I have dinosaurs. Let's take a tour of the bathroom. I happen to be standing in it, and it is in pretty raunchy condition. Let's see, I'll start over here. There is the original toilet. It is currently broken. Whenever you flush, you have to wash your hands, and by that I mean you have to reach your hand in there, grab the flapper. I won't demonstrate that now. Let's see, here's the sink, which I've been using to clean paintbrushes out for a different project. I already had to take the mirror off in order to access the wall to get electricity run through there. We have one switch here, no outlets, so I'm going to add a GFCI. We've got all this disgusting wallpaper and a suspended ceiling, so I'm going to tear all that out. We also have carpet, and here's the carpet around the toilet again, which is never a good idea if you have men living in the house. We also have a shower here, but the shower actually isn't in bad shape. I might replace this at some point, but for now the shower is going to get a reprieve, so I'm going to leave that here and save myself a lot of labor and trouble. And finally we have this little room that kind of adjoins the bathroom. I'm also going to tear off the tile in here, and I'm going to take all the wallpaper out and repaint this as well, as long as I'm at it. What's out of scope with this project is the ceiling. I am not going to drywall it yet. And the reason is because we have plumbing that I'm going to be messing with at a future date for upstairs bathrooms. So it would be silly to drywall the ceiling, only to have to tear that down. So we've arrived at the part where we're going to take out the toilet. Most people think this is intimidating and nasty, and they'd be wrong. It is intimidating, but they're half right. It is pretty nasty. I should have latex gloves. Well, I'll get those in a second. So I'm going to take off these caps. First thing I want to do is shut off the water supply. I'm just going to turn that. The next thing I need to do is get all the water out of the main tank. So I'm going to do that right now. Bye-bye, toilet. You did a good job. I'm about to be replaced. Yeah, sorry. The great thing that most cities do now is they'll pay you to take out your old toilet, your old crappy toilet that uses a lot of water. Get it? Crappy toilet. This is a 4-gallon per flush model. My city will give me $100 if I install a dual flush model. And it turns out that Sam's Club has dual flush models for $100. Wah! Sorry, big guy. Your time is over. The next thing I'm going to do is I've got the water turned off. Now I want to get the water out of the bowl. And how you do that is you take a big bucket of water and dump it down really fast. That was quite the flush. It went out on a high note. So now most of the water is out of the toilet, but not all of it. The next thing I'm going to do is disconnect the water supply. Toilet's now disconnected. There's a little bit of water coming out, a little bit of water left over in the tank, and it is spilling on the carpet, but I don't care because I'm about to take this carpet out next. The final step here is to remove the bolts holding down the toilet. I happen to have a fancy tool for that. It's pretty cool. It's got sockets that ratchet so I can make quick work out of this. When I was a little boy, toilets used to scare me. I thought these were eyes and they're kind of angry. I thought this was a big mouth and the toilet would eat me when I went to pee in it. It's probably why I peed all over the seat so much. My mom wasn't happy about that. Okay, that's it. Sorry, big guy. Your days are over. Let's lift this guy up. Ooh. And that's it. The toilet is out. What you're going to want to do is put a towel or some newspaper in that hole to keep sewer gases from coming up. But yeah, that's it. Next up, take out the carpet.
Nobody knows the trouble I've seen.
So I've got all the carpet out now, but there's still some glue from the old padding that was underneath the carpet. So the next step is to get that out. You want your floor to be as smooth as possible and with as little debris for when you do the tile. So now I'm at the point where I've removed all the carpet, I've removed the padding, I've removed the trim, and I've got most of the nails and texture up. This is still a mess, so I'm going to have to do some more sweeping and clean it up before we can lay tile, but it's well on its way. But before I do that, I'm going to tackle the other side, and this side actually has tile, so this can either go really well, sometimes it pries right off and leaves no mess. Sometimes you have to fight it for hours, but most of the time it's somewhere in the middle. So in the first 2 hours and 20 minutes, I've taken out the toilet, I've taken out the vanity, I've removed all the carpet padding, and I've removed all the tile. I've chiseled it out and created a huge mess, which I'm going to clean up now. After that, I'm going to take off the wallpaper, paint, and after painting, I got to remove the suspended ceiling. I'll do that before I paint. So I'll take off the suspended ceiling, I'll paint, I'll check the floor, it'll be time to tile, and then we'll be on the home stretch. I still have quite a bit to go, but I've only been at it for not even 2.5 hours, so I'm happy with my progress. Now I'm at the stage where I'm tearing off the wallpaper. Unfortunately, it's coming off pretty easy. Let me show you. So I'm 5 hours into the job and I've encountered my first real hang up, and that is wallpaper paste. So the single most painful part of this whole bathroom remodel is turning out to be removing this wallpaper paste. You scrub the crap out of it with a sponge and hardly any of it comes off. I've spent like 3 hours on it so far. I decided to invent a new tool to see if that would help out. You can still see there's areas where there's glue on here, and every time I try to wash it off it gets sticky. I've tried all kinds of solvents and scrapers, but I can't seem to get the rest of the very last remnants of it off. What I found though was this product that is supposed to lock in the wallpaper paste. It is a primer. You put it on and the wallpaper paste gets locked in, and then you can paint over that. So I hope this works. I am going to try that next. So I finished applying the guards primer a couple hours ago, and again the purpose of that is to seal in the wallpaper paste. Two observations about it. It is very, very watery, so it's not like normal paint that's kind of thick. This you have to be careful because it drips all over the place. Observation number 2 is it stinks really, really bad, so you do not want to apply this in a closed space, and you also want to wear a ventilator because it is nasty. Who knows how many VOCs I inhaled. But it looks pretty good now. I've done a little bit of painting around the edges here, and I don't see any signs of paint failure, which is what happens if you try to paint over wallpaper paste. So now I've begun painting. The walls are all done. I've sealed them up with my wallpaper sealer. I've already painted a lot of the corners with a brush, so now I just have to get to the roller part. This wall over here is going to have shiplap on it, which is wood that I'm going to staple to it, so this one I can paint. As a result, I put some Easter eggs in there for the next people who remodel this house and tear down all my hard work. I'm getting ready to tile now, and the important thing to do before you set your first tile is to lay out your design. So you have to think of what your room is going to look like when it's all done, and you don't want broken up tiles where your eye is going to be drawn. So this wall that I'm looking at right now is going to be the most visible wall in the bathroom, so I want that to be a whole tile. I don't want that to be cut at all, so I've decided that's going to be my first line. I've used this laser level here to draw it out. It's hard to see, but there's a little red line. So I've made dashes. I'm going to use a straight edge when I put my first line down to make sure they're straight. The second thing I have to consider is obstacles. And the main one in a bathroom is the toilet. So you can see that's where the old toilet was. And I don't want a full tile to be at this spot because, and I've measured this out already, so I know the tile is going to be like so. So if I had a full tile there, that's going to be difficult to deal with. So I'm going to offset these tiles in thirds, and I'm going to arrange them so, actually I'm going to arrange them so the 2/3 tile goes right, it's going to go right about here. So I'll be able to notch this out to fit the toilet in there, to fit the toilet waistline through the tile. And then the next one, I probably won't have to do any cut at all, so that should be easy. And it's finally time to get down to business. I'm going to start putting down my first line of tile. So now I'm done tiling. I'm done with a backsplash, which I put shiplap on this wall that the sink and toilet are going to be on. And it is time to grout. I've mixed the grout, so here we go. So that whole job took about 25 minutes. It's all grouted. Now I'm going to get a wet sponge and wipe everything down. Oh, hey there. The bathroom is now done. It's time to give you a final tour of the completed project, or almost completed project. I'll get to that in a moment. And first things first, I admit that I failed y'all in a couple small ways, and that I failed to capture video for the last 3 things I did. So I'll show you what I did and talk about them a little bit. The first thing I did was there was a light switch here, and I took that out and converted that into a GFCI outlet with a little night light on it, which is pretty cool. If I turn the light on, the bathroom still kind of lights up because of that night light. I moved all the lights to switch on this switch at the entry to the bathroom instead of having multiple switches, which I thought was silly. The second thing I failed to capture was the installation of the vanity. but that's pretty simple. It came in pieces in a box. I put it together, and I also had to plumb it along with the faucet, but that stuff is pretty simple. And the final thing I did was install the new toilet. So it is time to give you the final tour of the bathroom, or almost final, because there's still a couple little things I have to do, but I'm going to save those for another time. For example, I have to do trim, but I'm going to do that when I do the rest of the house. And the ceiling is still open because I'll need to access plumbing for a little bit there. So I'm going to act like I'm walking in the bathroom. Here I am. Oh, there's the wife. Hey, what do you think of the new bathroom?
I think the new bathroom's great, but you need to hang up the toilet paper holders because this on the back of the toilet doesn't work for me.
What's wrong with? How about this over here on the floor?
No, that doesn't work for me either. We have toilet paper holders. Did you tell everybody that we got them at IKEA? Where did we get these? Costco. Look at this. This 5-piece set was only $30 at Costco.
This video has not been brought to you by Costco. However, Costco, if you would like to work on a sponsorship deal, contact me at Mr. 1500 at 1500days.com. So is this like the best bathroom you've ever seen, or?
It's the best before and after bathroom that I've ever seen. That before bathroom was butt ugly. I think that this is beautiful. I'm super excited with how this plays into our entire bathroom or entire house theme?
Yeah,
color scheme?
Theme.
Color scheme. That's what I want to say, color scheme. I'm super excited about it because it's beautiful. And now, since we only have one bathroom done, we have given our children something to fight about.
Yes. What do you think if we just mount like 50 toilet paper roll holders like along this wall, or maybe this wall here, and then we'll never have to load toilet paper for like an entire year? Would that be... Oh, and there's a child. Hello, child.
I'm gonna go to Breeze.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I think that because I am the only person in this whole entire house who knows how to change the flip flap and toilet paper holder.
Wow, this video is quickly devolving into something else. Stay tuned for the sequel, Marriage Counseling 101. Yeah, okay.
You know what? We would need marriage counseling if you would just change the toilet paper roll. Bye. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrow. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen.